Michelle Murphy here in New York City with the beautiful Ruth Applehoff.
Hi, Michelle. How are you tonight?
You have to say welcome to me this time because I am at your big event. Can you tell our audience the name of this beautiful event, which is taking place here at Cipriani's in New York City on 42nd Street?
Well, we're proud to have had 26 years of this event, always in New York at some fabulous place. It's called the Guildhall Academy of the Arts Lifetime Achievement Award Dinner.
And you see why I wanted her to say it. That's a mouthful. And they're going to get a delicious mouthful tonight, right? It's a dinner. And tell us what all happens here tonight.
Well, first we start with cocktails, and everyone gets to greet each other, and there are 200 of the most amazing people in the world who happen to also love Guildhall.
And I read the guest list. It is dazzling.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And once they have all said hello to everyone, then we sit down for dinner, and we give awards to 4 different people in 4 different categories. So first we have the visual arts. Elizabeth Peyton will be getting that award. She said to me that she feels quite much too young to be receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award, but she accepted it. They're actually elected by their peers.
Boy.
And Dick Cavett is receiving the award for the performing arts, and Marshall Brickman, who wrote Jersey Boys, among other things, will receive the literary award. Our 4th award actually goes to Louise Cullman for his philanthropy, and Louis actually was the first person to give Guildhall $1 million for our capital campaign some years ago. So he certainly deserves this award, and we're glad to have him here tonight.
And he's responsible also, isn't he, for the renovation of the Boots Lamb?
Yes. Actually, Lewis's $1 million gift was to help support education. And our Boots Lamb Education Center is the hub of education. So he actually has named the education programs after his brother, Joseph Cullman, who was a dear, dear man, a friend of Guildhall, and someone who supported us for many years, yes.
Yes, and he's since passed on.
Yes, he has.
Yes. What a generous man he is. I've been reading about all of the different organizations he's helped. Hospitals and museums and wings are named after them, rightly so. We are so lucky to have him in our midst.
Yes,
Living part-time in the Hamptons along with these others. And I have to say, Dick Cavett is a special honoree friend of mine because I used to work for him.
Oh, no way.
Yes, as a young woman on the Dick Cavett show, which was great fun.
Oh, my
What a
gosh.
guy he is.
Yes. Well, Dick is amazing. I actually hadn't met him until last year, and he came to see Alec Baldwin in Equus. And by some wonderful stroke of fate, I'm sitting in the same row with him. And I'm there with a girlfriend of mine, and he says to her, well, I'd love to meet the director of Guildhall. And I said, whoa, that's me. So we had a nice chat afterwards, and he's going to be coming to Guildhall to perform this summer, too, on August 7th.
Oh my goodness, I can't wait till we have our biannual meeting, you and I, so I can tell all of you what's coming up for the season. And I know you're starting something very early in April. You're having some sort of a special symposium, I believe.
That's correct. Yes, last year we had a wonderful program called the Hamptons Institute, and it's fashioned after the Aspen Institute. And it was hugely successful last summer. We had George Soros and Elizabeth Warren there. And we thought, well, why not do it again? So we're actually doing it in April 16th, and then again in July. And the April program is amazing. Peter Orzog, who is the head of Citibank and was the financial secretary under Clinton, will be speaking, and also Paul Farmer, who is a wonderful, wonderful humanitarian who is committed to world health care. So Paul Farmer has written many, many books and has traveled all around the world. helping different cultures sustain themselves. And he's a beautiful man. We're very lucky to have them both.
How exciting.
Yeah.
And then I know we have Steve Martin coming.
Yes.
July 4th weekend. Is it July 2nd he'll
It
be
is.
here?
Steve, is kind of connected with everyone out here because, of course, he did the Oscars with Alec Baldwin. And
Who will be here tonight?
yes, yep, Alec's going to be here. And he very graciously agreed to come to Guildhall for one night only, July 2nd. And he's coming with his band, the Steep Canyon Ranch Band. They'll be playing bluegrass banjo. So it's not your usual Steve Martin where there's lots of jokes and fooling around, no King Tut, but it's going to be amazing. He won an Emmy for his production of this music, and I'm certain it's going to be fantastic. We're having a gala afterwards at one of our board members' homes, and Alec has promised to do a little kibitzing with Steve so we can get a little comedy out of him too.
A little humor.
Yeah.
I know my brother, who you know is his tour manager for his banjo work, and he has said Steve is quite a serious man when he's not having to perform, and he's very serious about his music.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping to have the whole band over for a pool party. I mean it, and I plan to be kibitzing, laughing.
Oh, I hope I'm invited.
You are definitely invited. You'll be the life of the party, Ruth, as usual. You look so beautiful. Is there anything else you'd like to tell our viewers so they can prepare to get their tickets for next year? Do they have to book early for this event?
do.
It's annual.
Yes, and I think everyone loves coming here to our New York venue, but don't forget that we also do a summer gala in August. It's August 12th this year, and it's going to be amazing. We're actually doing it in honor of Richard Prince, who is a very, very important contemporary artist. And
Is he ever?
it's going to really be a huge event. We would love to have everyone come to that too.
Yes. So we have our social plans as usual. Do you ever get a chance to have a night at home just relaxing, Ruth? We all envy you your life.
Oh, I have a great life, I'm telling you.
do.
I just have to mention one other wonderful performance this summer. We've just booked this. Colin Quinn from Saturday Night Live, hilarious man. He has a show here on Broadway called Long Story Short. And we've invited him to come out to Guildhall. The show is going to end on Broadway. He's coming out 3 weeks in June, and it will be the first stop on a national tour. So we're very excited about Colin Quinn coming to Guildhall. It's a hilarious show. People will love it.
Isn't this wonderful? And we all need a good laugh lately with the world as it is. But tonight is only about celebrating in this beautiful venue that you all have selected for us, and we're so excited to be here. We thank you for giving us the opportunity to bring it to everybody watching us tonight or today, whenever we're being aired. Thank you, Ruth.
It's my pleasure, Michelle. Thank you for coming.
Hello, Bob. Do you make every woman this jittery?
I hope so. I don't know. Hello, I'm Michelle Murphy, and this is Bob Balaban.
Hello. And how am I looking tonight?
You look
You're
great.
looking
You look swell.
smashing.
You look
Yeah,
very formal.
yeah, I'm very formal. We found out that I may be a friend of his wife from high school.
It's possible. We'll find out
yeah,
later. But we're
yeah.
here tonight because there's a Guildhall event with the arts honorees tonight, and Dick Cavett, Marshall Brickman, Elizabeth Peyton, and Louise Cullman are being honored tonight.
Oh, you got that down good.
Oh, I tried.
Excellent. And for a man who does so much, it's utterly amazing that you can remember everything like that. Bumbity bum. I've been reading your bio, and that's why I'm nervous. I mean, this man, he does it all. Children's books. He's a producer, a director, a writer. What haven't you done? A father, a husband.
Well, there are a few things left to conquer, but
Yes.
I diversify.
We're about the same age, so there are a few things for us to do, right?
I diversify, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's fun.
So what do you consider yourself number one?
Trying to work. Number one, I'm trying to stay alive. Number one, I'm trying to be busy, trying to make money, trying to do good things, and I'm very happy doing new things.
Yes.
I've never consciously gone like, oh, what new thing will I do next, obviously. But I do like to keep busy, and I see no reason. It's kind of one big thing, whether you're writing or directing or producing. It's kind of similar. You use the same muscles, but maybe with a little different spin on it, and I do think it helps.
Yeah, I often think of artists as a tube of toothpaste where you squeeze it and kind of the same thing comes out.
Well, in my case, I try to have it be striped. Remember striped toothpaste?
I certainly do, and mine is polka dot all the time.
I don't want to be the same as toothpaste, please. No, don't make me be
right,
toothpaste.
but delicious.
Yes.
Yeah. So what are you up to these days? What's your next venture?
Next venture, my most immediate next venture. First of all, I develop a lot of stuff, which I'll mention briefly. But the next thing that I'm actually doing, where you have to go somewhere and have a plane ticket and stuff, I'm going to be acting in a new movie that Wes Anderson, one of my very favorite directors, actually is directing, that I love. I think it's great. With some great people. Bruce Willis is in the movie, and Bill Murray and Frances McDormand, one of my favorite actresses, and some great people are going to do it. And I think it's a terrific thing. I would name it if I could remember its name. I have no idea what it's called.
See?
I don't know.
Gotcha. Finally, we got him with something.
I wasn't paying attention. I wrote a series of children's books. I had a series about 10 years ago about a funny bionic dog and his boy called McRae, and we did well. We sold a lot of books, and I had a very good time. So I decided to set up a new book called The Creature from the 7th Grade, and 4 of them will start coming out in about a year. I've just turned in the first one, and they're about a year. We have about a year advance lead.
I love that word, a creature from the 7th grade, because weren't we all creatures then?
That's the point, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it's about a little boy going through puberty, and everybody else in his class is getting hair under their lip and in other places that you can't mention in polite company, and he turns into a 7.5-foot reptile.
Wow.
It's a metaphor
A lot of
for
possibilities.
It's really a metaphor for how awkward kids feel at that age. They
Yeah.
always think they're the only one going through it, only in his case, he actually is the only one going through it.
Yeah.
But he was a wimpy kid, now he's a wimpy monster.
Okay. I love him already. And what I find fascinating about you and your work has been the range, like your interest in Gosford Park, one of my all-time favorites.
Well, I love that movie.
And, yeah.
Well, Gosford Park was unintentional, you could say. I was sitting around one day feeling particularly desperate, which I do fairly regularly. It is a great motivator, desperation.
Isn't it? That's something for all of us to remember. You heard it from him.
Never try to avoid your desperation.
Right.
Just look it in the eye and try to be more desperate. I was thinking about how much I loved Robert Altman. He was a friend of mine.
Yes.
We had worked together. I did a documentary about him once.
And we had him at Guildhall just before he passed
Yes,
away.
he did a fabulous conversation. Who was it with? I can't remember. With Elvis Mitchell? No, was it?
I'm forgetting, but I know I asked him a question from the audience, and I
it
was
was
very
great.
honored to have even had that one little moment with him. But I interrupted you.
No,
You
no.
go ahead.
And he was dying at that moment, and he was going to be dead in about 2 months.
Yes.
And he was working on 3 movies.
Yes.
He never stopped until the minute he stopped breathing. And you could tell in this last interview of his, I mean, he was just as brilliant, if anything, more erudite, more focused. And he was a great guy.
Yeah.
So I brought him an idea. I had this idea that he should be directing an Agatha Christie murder mystery, which he had never done before. So we worked on it for a bit of time, and then I found an unknown writer named Julian Fellows who had written a script for me, but he wasn't a writer. He was an actor at that point. He wanted to be a writer, and I said, well, I know somebody. He's just hanging around England. He'll write something cheap for us. And he did. Robert loved it. We made the movie. It was terribly easy in many ways, you could say. And then our little unknown writer won the Academy Award, and now he's got a bigger house than my house, which isn't saying that much. But,
Well, you're in our little old Bridgehampton,
I'm
right?
in beautiful Bridgehampton. I'm very happy to be there.
Isn't it wonderful? And Manhattan as well?
I'm in Manhattan when I need to be, but basically I live in Bridgehampton, and I come here for tonight. I came here, and for tomorrow morning I've got something, and then I'll go back the next day.
So it's home out there.
I would say that it was home, yeah.
Yeah.
But I travel a lot anyway, so
Yes.
I would be kind of gone a couple of months of the year anyway,
Right.
if things weren't doing too badly.
Yes. And I'll let you get to all the festivities tonight, but I wanted to end on the note that I was reading that your roots are in show business, which I found fascinating.
Well, I
how they
did,
go
yeah.
way back with you. So you wanted this probably all your life. This.
I didn't want it exactly, but my family, my really not my grandparents, my uncles. My father was the youngest of 7 brothers. He was 26 years younger than his oldest brother. So they were really like his parents. And when my dad was born, they owned and operated the largest chain of movie theaters in the Midwest, basically. The oldest brother went on to own and operate Paramount Pictures for a number of years, and somebody else split off and went to MGM. So I didn't really grow up in it because it was in Chicago, and my dad was 26 years younger than the rest of them. But he was in radio and television, and he also had a few art houses. So I have to say that from the earliest time I remember, I was always being an actor. I did puppet shows. I stood in the mirror and practiced laughing and crying. You know, I did the things that I'm sort of embarrassed to say, and yet, because I'm an actor, I told you immediately. I never thought I would be anything in particular other than I probably would grow up and try to work in my dad's office. But I started working at a young age and continued working, so it happened. But it's...
Fantastic. And you grew up where?
Yes, I'm on a television show right now. No. I grew up on the near north side of Chicago, Illinois.
Oh, that's right, Chicago.
No.
Yeah.
And then I went to college. I went to Colgate University and then NYU, and I just stayed.
And you stayed
and
in
met
this
my
area.
wife in college, yeah.
Great, my friend. Okay. Say hi for me.
It was really nice to see you.
Yeah, so nice to meet you. You're such a special person. We can tell that right away.
Well, God willing.
And we're in for a great evening tonight.
Don't expect too much. It's only talking.
We're in for a pretty good night.
Hopefully nothing bad will happen to us tonight. That's the way I
Any
like it.
juggling behind your back?
No juggling, ever, ever, ever again. That was it. You can only do it once.
Great. Well, we are very privileged to have you here tonight.
Thank you.
It's such a great honor to meet you and to get this chance to get to know you a bit.
Well, thank you. It was nice talking
Thank
to
you.
you.
Thank you. Welcome back. I'd like to introduce to you Louise Hirschfeld Cullman.
How do you do? It's so nice to be here.
It's wonderful to have you. And her husband, who's being honored tonight, Louis Cullman.
Correct. My name is Louis Cullman. And I had a brother, Joe Cullman, who's also, I see his name as up there on the screen.
Yes, we're honoring your brother as well this evening, I believe.
Really? He's being re-honored? Or how did he do that?
Well, you've honored him in many ways, I understand,
Well,
with the boot slam.
I gave the money to Guildhall in his honor. That's the connection.
Yes.
And I'm still his blood brother. I'm the
Yeah.
baby of the family.
You are the baby.
Absolutely. Unexpected baby.
Really?
Yes.
Really. And how about you, Louise? Are you the baby in your family?
No, I'm not. Louis Cullman and I actually just got married.
You did? Well,
We're
congratulations.
newlyweds.
That's so exciting.
And both of our spouses passed away. Al Hirschfeld, my late husband, passed away 8 years ago, and his wife died about 2 years ago.
2009 she died.
And so we were introduced by a mutual friend, and I didn't know what would happen, but within a year.
I knew exactly what was going to happen. I didn't tell her that though.
Well, I have to say, looking at this beautiful woman, I understand that. It must have been love at first sight. Am I right?
That's the way. That's what we say for the record. I want to tell you what the real story is.
Yeah. And he's quite debonair too, so. And your husband, he was in the arts?
Yes, he was. He was the caricaturist for the New York Times, and he covered the theater mainly for almost 75 years. His drawings were always in the New York Sunday Times, and he did celebrities. I know that Dick Cavett is being honored, and he was drawn. He did a wonderful drawing of Dick in the last show that he did on Broadway, which was the Rocky Horror Show. And it was a lot of fun. But I'm president of the Al Hirschfeld Foundation, and I oversee what happens to his art and how to promote it for another generation so that younger people will understand the kind of art that he practiced and how one man's vision of the entertainment business lingers on today in memory.
Well, does it ever? Because I look at your husband's art every day because I have an original
You do?
drawing above our Steinway Baby Grand, and it is of my father's show,
Which
who was
was
a
what?
friend of your late husband.
Oh, really?
And it has Judy's on it, as well as Nina's.
Is that so?
And I met the Judy, who is his godchild, apparently, at one point. But enough about
Well,
that.
wait a minute.
But
What was your father?
my father was Elliot Murphy, and he had a show called the Aqua Show, where the World's Fair was
Yes.
for 12 years.
Yes.
And he had the Aquazanis, the Aquadorables, and Duke Ellington, Cab Calloway.
Well, it's very interesting because Billy Rose was a great friend of Al Hirschfeld's, and I once went to Queens to the site of where the Aqua Show was, and he reminisced. He was so nostalgic about it. He
With
had
Billy Rose,
Yeah,
you
with
were.
Billy Rose, and of course all of those beautiful swimmers.
Oh.
And didn't Billy Rose meet a couple of his wives swimming?
I believe he did. One of the famous
They didn't
swimmers.
drown, though.
No. But they were, yes, and then they sadly tore that building down, which is so very sad. My father had it after Billy Rose, he in the 40s and all through the
I see,
50s,
yes.
until they built the LIE right through the
yes.
parking lot.
Oh my goodness.
And I wanted to say how many different things. It must be hard for you all to decide where to do your philanthropic work. There are so many needs today.
The main things I do are things that really interest me. I also do other things. I'm particularly interested in education, and this actually what I gave to Guildhall is for the education department. I've done an education thing at MoMA, at the Met, and we have the chess program. We're having our event next week.
You are. I am so excited about that program because it's for underprivileged children to help their way of thinking and figuring out problems.
It's an in-school program, which is unusual. It's an actual course starting in 3rd grade. And we've reached 500,000 kids, changed their lives, getting them into prestigious colleges, and these are kids who would never have an opportunity, and they have a chance to succeed in life. That's all we're trying to do.
It's amazing, and the sense of self-esteem at being able to even play chess, much less play it well, is something they can take with them anywhere.
I have a theory that the typical economically disadvantaged kid has 2 role models, a sports figure or entertainment. Neither one is within his reach. Teach him how to play chess. They go to the Nationals, they beat, say, a kid from Dalton, and they say, that rich kid wasn't, I just beat the hell out of him in chess. He's up to here in self-esteem. That's what all they need. They don't need much. But that we don't realize the devastation. Most of these kids, single mother, probably on drugs, no home life, temptation everywhere. And for them to get out of that milieu is a wonderful thing to be able to do. And the arts certainly are part of it. I mean, I love the program that Aggie Gunn does, Studio in a School. We got that one. You got the dance classroom, which I love. And there's SIO, which is a symphony. Any program that gives kids an opportunity to blossom forth is worth it. And this is just one of many.
I admire this so much, and your thinking about it is so refreshing, because today in our culture there is such an emphasis on being a celebrity, being beautiful or sports.
Is it better to be ugly? Come on now. Be careful.
He's got a sense of humor too. Okay, we'll take that. But I think this is, as you say, an attainable goal, and you can't be on drugs and do well at chess. You have to have a clear mind.
I think that's pretty true, yes.
And the people they're looking up to are living usually a pretty good life, I would
There's
imagine.
going to be a show at the Metropolitan Museum at the Cloisters of chess sets.
Really?
And we're going to have a tournament up there at that time. I mean, it really.
Where will it be? At the Cloisters?
At the Cloisters,
Yes.
And it's of all names, it's the Louise chess sets, which have a great history. LEWIS, same as nothing to do with me, but the idea. I mean, it really. We have a chess tournament every Saturday and during the school year, open to any kid in New York City.
Really?
All over the city, yes. Some in Central Park, some in high schools, any locale we can get it. And these kids come, and it's you can't believe you can hear a pin drop when they're playing.
I was going to say the concentration is so beautiful to watch. And so it's Louis sets, and here we have Louise and Louis sets. So we're on a roll.
The craziest thing is her name is Louise Cullman. My brother Edgar is also married to a Louise. So we have a problem. Louise 1, Louise 2. How do we differentiate this?
You must have fun family gatherings then with all those Louises.
One more Louise and it would be complicated. The third one we were not going to take care of.
Tony,
And-
do you cover the arts at Guildhall as well? Do you see everything and report on it? Is that
Yes.
part of what you do?
I do. In fact, I was once very honored to meet your husband, your former husband.
Yes, late
Yes,
husband,
yes,
yeah.
your late husband. Yes, and
Yes, we were out there for an
Yes.
event with Kitty Carlisle.
yes,
That's right.
exactly. And he gave me a beautiful letter that he signed about the piece that I own that I brought in.
Uh-huh.
So I do, and I'm so pleased tonight we're going to have Elizabeth Peyton, who's a wonderful young artist,
Yes.
with us.
Oh, great.
But why do you ask? You're obviously very interested in the
I'm
arts.
very
out there.
interested in the arts, and I'm a theater historian, and by trade, and I worked in television production for 20 years, and I was a member of the Tony nominating committee, so I really love the theater, and I've taken Louis to some wonderful places. I took him last week to Avenue C and 3rd Street to see a wonderful play about my friend Eric Bentley called Silent Partners. He was the adapter of all of Bertolt Brecht's early works. And he made it. He made it back uptown. And I took him yesterday to Brooklyn, where we saw an incredible production of Jeffrey Rush in Diary of a Madman.
Oh, yes.
It was
I heard
one
it was
of-
sold out like that.
It's sold out. It's
He
still so.
probably burns 6,000 calories every night.
Wow.
The guy, he's so active. It's almost acrobatic what he does. I mean, it's amazing.
And here he is straight from the King's Speech.
That's
Yes,
right.
yes,
That's right.
yes.
He's a combination of Laurence Olivier, Orson Welles, the Marx Brothers, Charlie Chaplin, all rolled into one. He has an incredible sustenance within him, and he just explodes with talent. It's
There
remarkable.
are two people in the whole show. He and a girl, and she plays 3 parts. It's quite, and they're both pretty athletic in this. I mean,
Amazing. It's so sad for the rest of us who didn't get to go.
You worry, like Spider-Man, maybe you're going to get hurt.
Yeah,
Tumbling and getting
Right,
up.
right.
I wanted to say something about the shows that I've seen at Guildhall,
Yes.
which I really admire. And I know Tony Walton very well, and he's one of the
He's a friend of
directors.
mine too, isn't he
Yes.
wonderful?
To-
He'll be
to-
here tonight.
Good. Tony has directed several plays there, and I think I've seen all of them. And the last one that I took Louis to was Equus with Alec Baldwin. And I was so pleased to see a play of such high resonance done by a fine actor like Alec Baldwin, who is now almost synonymous with everything that happens in New York.
He's
I mean,
ubiquitous.
he is all over,
I know.
and including the voice of the New York Philharmonic.
Energy, right?
Yes, exactly. But it's wonderful that in this atmosphere of relaxation, supposedly in the East End, that so much talent is concentrated, and that during vacation time these kinds of works can be done. And it's great, because usually people go on vacation and they don't want to work, but that's not true with theater people. They
It's
have to
not
keep
true.
working.
I bet you never knew that he got an award from the USTA, the tennis. And I didn't even know he's a tennis player. He got an award.
Really?
Yes.
Alec Baldwin, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, well-
Alec, I didn't know that as well.
Yes, he did.
My goodness. Well, he has energy left to burn after everything
Yes,
else he
exactly,
does.
Exactly.
But I'm doing a program on the Tonys and what's becoming of theater.
Yes.
And may I invite you to come and just give us some of your thoughts?
Sure, I'd love to.
That would be such a pleasure
Where
to
will that
discuss
be?
it with you.
In the East
It will
End?
be on the East End, but I'm hoping to invite.
Can I get a passport to get out there?
I'd love to. I think Sheldon Harnick will come.
Great, wonderful.
And perhaps Tony Walton, and if you would love to come as
love
well,
to,
it would
yes.
be wonderful because I'm a little worried about Broadway. I was brought up with it with my father, and when I see, I'm very protective of it. I don't want
I
anything
think
to
we're
happen.
seeing certain things happen.
Yes.
Certain bridges are being burned,
Yes.
and I don't know if they'll ever be up again.
Right.
You know, we may never go back to the great American musical, supposedly the great era in the 30s, 40s, and 50s and 60s. That may be over, and we'll only see them in revivals now.
Yes.
And you'll have to learn to hum something like a car crash.
Yeah.
My uncle Howard Cullman, when he was dating his second wife, Peggy, he said, "What do you do?" And she said, "Well, I work for Stage Magazine." "What do you do there?" "I write reports of hit shows." He said, "Wait a minute. Don't you have to go to press long before they open?" "Yes." I said, "Well, wait a minute. What's your batting average?" "It's pretty good." So there must be some money in that. So we backed the South Pacific, Arsenic and Old Lace, Life with Father, all those early shows because of that particular aberration. You never know. Sometimes you learn by your mistakes.
It's an interesting way to become a theater angel, isn't it?
Isn't it? Yes. Well, you two are angels and
Well,
newlywed
thank you.
angels.
Thank you.
My
Beautiful couple.
Peggy wrote a book called Occupation Angel.
You really? Really?
Also wrote another book, which when he became Commissioner General of the Brussels World Fair, the book was called 90 Dozen Glasses. I said, why? When she went there, she said to the embassy people, "What do I have to do?" She said, "You have to get 90 dozen glasses to entertain." It's a lot of glasses.
That sure is a lot
wine.
of glasses, a lot of wine. You two are the best. I really
thank
have
you so much.
enjoyed getting to know you
was
tonight.
delightful to
It's
speak
really a
with you.
pleasure.
Thank you.
And I want to just end on the note that I love the name of the two books that you wrote.
Yes.
How to Succeed in Fundraising by Really Trying. Do I have that right?
No, how to. Yes. How to succeed in fundraising by really trying. That's right.
Yes, I think that's so clever.
And because the other one was
Yes.
Can't Take It With You,
Yes.
the art of making and giving money.
Right, right.
And,
Well,
and he did not have a problem with George S. Kaufman, who wrote, "You can't take it with you."
Right. Back to theater.
He changed a few words, and it worked out very well. So thank you very much. It's
Well,
been a
thank
pleasure.
you. It's been
Thanks.
great to meet you both.
Great.
Have a wonderful, wonderful time tonight, and congratulations. Hello, Michelle Murphy back again for Guildhall, and I'm here with the wonderful painter Elizabeth Peyton. Welcome.
Thank you.
How is it for you being here in the city? Are you from the city or you're visiting?
I'm not from the city, but I've lived here for, I don't know, 27 years.
Have you really? And where are you from originally?
Connecticut.
Which part?
Sorry. Southwest. It's a small town called Brookfield. I grew up in.
Did you ever expect all of this fame and celebrity that you're enjoying right now as a young artist?
I don't know if I'd call it that, but no. No.
Well, I've been watching your career grow, and I'm so admiring, first of all, what you do and the sincerity and beauty of your work and the guts of your work, because it's very unique, I believe, and it's not necessarily, you're carving different ways for artists to feel free to express themselves.
Thank you for noticing.
Yeah.
It's very nice. of
And
you.
you're true to yourself. And I think so many people in the art world are trying so hard to just fit into whatever is current. And you do what you feel is from your heart, I believe.
I really like being in the world, and the art world. But for me, more important is being in the world, and that's a different arena.
Isn't it? I'm also a painter, and somebody once was interviewing me, and I said the most important thing is to make your life a work of art, and then make your art. But if your life is not first a work of art, then what's it all about? And I think that's a little bit like what you were saying. Am I right?
Well, more just, sometimes in the art world things fly by because it's within that sheltered environment. And I just like to be out there, because all humans really love art and need art and beauty. And I like to be out there, but with that.
Exactly. And you often your subjects are often your friends or not necessarily?
Yeah, often they're artists who I really admire, mostly artists above all. And sometimes I know them, sometimes I don't, sometimes they're passed away, so
Yes.
I'm working from photos. Or musicians who I really love.
Yes.
Whatever's really inspiring me and making me see the world in a certain way.
Yes.
I'm making pictures of.
Right. I find the same thing, and I try to surround in my studio different iconic people that inspire me. It might be Bob Dylan, a certain photograph of him, and I imagine.
What could be more inspiring than Bob Dylan?
Exactly.
Not much like that.
Yeah, right. What kind of music do you listen to, or no music when you're working?
Oh, all music when I'm working.
Yeah?
Yeah, only music.
Not
the time.
not a talk show.
No, more
Not
when
books
I'm
on tape.
procrastinating. I'll be listening to some kind of NPR thing, but no, music. I just did a show at the Metropolitan Opera to do with Wagner, so I was listening to a lot of Wagner.
Wonderful,
Yeah,
wonderful.
great experience.
And how many hours do you like to go without a break?
Oh, it just depends. Depends.
Does
on
it vary a great deal from day to day?
Very, very.
And with the demands of being in demand as an artist, are you finding it difficult to make the time and carve out the time just for your work or not?
Not really. In the end, I can't make that much work. It takes a long time to make it, so I can't do that many things anyway. So, it's pretty quiet actually.
Yes.
And I can only do what I, am very excited to do. So there's no attempt to do more than that.
Yeah.
I'm not being very articulate, but
No, I totally get it, and I think our viewers would understand that too. It's not like making a pizza pie. How many do you want?
just endlessly produce something. It just
No.
doesn't work like that at all.
No. And I think so many times non-artists don't really understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a special thing making something, and of course you could be working all the time, but like when the thing happens, it's a different
Right.
thing.
When you're in the zone
Yeah.
and it takes off.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'll let you get to the party, but you live is it Shelter Island?
No, I have a place in Orient.
Orient. I knew it was
North side.
that. I love Orient. Oh, it's so wonderful.
Special.
How much of the time are you there?
Not so much right now. I really lived there from like 2001 to 2007. I lived there all the time, and now, I'm not there so often.
Yes.
But
Are you
I
in
have
Manhattan?
Yeah, I have a place there, and go as often as I want to, need to.
Yeah.
I love it there.
Yeah, yeah. It's very special. It takes me back to another time,
Yeah.
doesn't it? It's so beautiful. And you can discover unknown little paths. Every time I go there, I deviate.
Yeah, it's very free.
Do you have a studio here in the city as well then?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Downtown or?
Downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you live with animals?
I do have a dog.
Yeah?
A very special dog. Yeah.
Oh, what's its name?
Felix.
Felix? And
Yeah.
what kind? Or?
He's a fox terrier, a very handsome one.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
And how many children in the family you grew up in?
Oh, that's an interesting question. 5. Well, I was the 5th.
You're the baby.
hmm
Are they all in the arts?
No, some are.
Yeah.
A couple. I
Yeah.
would say 2, maybe, or 3.
They must be very proud of you.
Oh, maybe. I'm proud of them.
Yeah, yeah. And Guildhall, you've been shown there quite regularly throughout your career growing, or did they wait until you were famous?
I think I've just done. That's nice of you. I think I just did one show with them
Yeah.
a few years ago
Yes.
of Prince, which was a great experience for me.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell just by meeting you what a true artist you are through and through. And I say that with great admiration and sincerity.
Thank
And
you
it's
very
really
much.
a pleasure to meet you. You're an inspiration. I'm here with Marshall Brickman. I'm Michelle Murphy, and we're here for Guildhall's Big Bash in New York City. Welcome.
Well, thank you.
So nice to meet you.
Likewise, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
It's kind of noisy here, isn't it?
It is noisy. Do I understand that you're also, among all the things you do, quite a musician, and you started in music?
I started in music, yes,
Yeah.
but I don't know if I'm quite a musician. I used to be a pretty good musician, but then I got a little viral thing in my pinky, which
Ooh.
makes me a manqué. If I may use a
Okay.
French term, I'm a musician manqué. But
Ah,
I love to
très
listen
bien.
to music. Yes.
Oui.
Well, part of my
And-
career was as a musician. I was
Yes.
a studio musician. How long an answer do we need?
Well, I'm just interested in, didn't you start, was it bluegrass?
Yes, I went.
Yeah.
Listen, all right. Can I speak freely now that
Please,
it's 2011? I was a red diaper baby. I was brought up singing "We Shall Overcome."
Me too.
Okay, and Michael rowed the boat ashore.
Oh,
So
yeah.
My guitar and banjo and those songs,
Yes.
and the camps where you learn those songs, where
Right.
everybody got into a field and
Right.
joined arms and sing union labor songs.
Yes.
So that was my introduction to music, and then I got involved with the banjo, and then eventually my roommate and I from college did the soundtrack. It may say so here, but since I don't have my glasses and I'm old enough to get an achievement award, a lifetime achievement award, I can't read it. But we did do the soundtrack for the movie Deliverance, Dueling
Yes,
Banjos.
yes. You and Steve Martin now with the banjo thing.
Steve Martin. Okay, let's.
It's become
can I
very
speak-
chic. Yeah.
Can I? Steve
Please.
told me that he learned to play the banjo by listening to my record. Okay.
Now, you guys are a similar age. What? This is funny.
Well, I'd like to think so. And we live in the same building.
Do you
And as a
really?
matter of fact, Steve is a spectacular banjo player.
I know.
You know,
My
I mean-
brother is his tour manager.
Oh, what do they call the red dirt clay
Something like
Rumpelstiltskins?
that.
or
They're
something?
coming to Guildhall this summer.
I know. Good for him. He's kept
Yeah.
the flame alive.
Yeah.
But,
But like you, he's a multi-talented guy, isn't he?
I know. He's like me. I could never come up with anything I really liked. So it kept changing. Music, television, movies,
Yeah.
theater,
Yeah.
and now this. Now they can kill me. It's a
So-
lifetime achievement.
So, reading about your history, didn't you meet, was it Woody Allen through your music way back when? Do I have that right?
Is this all about Google? Is this what
No,
everything is
no.
about now?
I
You just
honestly,
Google
I swear,
people?
I've never Googled this man.
Cross your heart?
Yes.
Woody was the opening act for a group called the Tarriers
Yes.
that I was in. It was the first interracial group. We had 2 Jews from Brooklyn, 2 blacks from Harlem, and Woody was our opening act at the bitter end, and we had the same manager. And I used to,
What was his name? Do you remember?
whose name? Woody?
The manager?
Yes, the legendary Jack Rollins.
Yeah, Rollins and Chaff.
Rollins and Jaffe. Jaffe now dear departed. Rollins. Jack is in his 90s, is spry as a, fill in your metaphor, and the great manager of everybody, including Harry Belafonte and Nicholson May and Joan Rivers and Robert Klein and anyway. And Charlie, actually, this is a long answer. Charlie, his junior partner, thought that Woody and I could write together because I was the guy. Remember folk music? You're not old to remember.
Oh no, we're about the same age, and yeah, I
We're
well
both about
remember.
38.
Yes,
and,
that's right.
And I was the guy who talked while everybody tuned up because I could tune up faster. And
And he was quick-witted, I'm sure, even back then.
I wrote it on the side of the guitar. And so I did the jokes, and Woody came out and did 20 minutes to absolute silence. It was really interesting. The audience had no idea what to make of him because it was very original, very personal stuff about psychiatry and his marriage and orgasms and stuff. And
So outspoken. I used to be a waitress at Catch a Rising Star. Do you remember that place?
sure, but Bud Freeman.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that was called the Improv. But Catch a Rising Star.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Anyway, that was uptown.
Anyway, this isn't about you.
Okay, forget that. Bleep. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
It's about him.
It's about.
It's all yours, baby.
All right, go ahead. So so you remember? Did you see Woody in the early days?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And I remember those silences. And
Great,
all
great.
the best people started that way.
I know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yes, that's how we met. We met backstage at the Bitter End many years ago.
Wow.
Is that it? Have we done enough?
No, we haven't.
Okay. What else do you want to know?
Tell me what are you up to these days? What's your passion right now?
Well, I'm in the theater,
Yes.
and I'm straight.
Yes. Very unusual.
That
so
was my wife. And we have these two shows on Broadway, inexplicably, Jersey Boys and The Addams Family, which we can't kill them with a stick. The Jersey Boys has gone on. We're all over the world. We have like 18 companies. I mean, and I can walk to work, which is different from doing a movie where you have to wake up at 4 a.m.
if I can say something else about me, I said to my husband, what I want for my birthday is to see the Jersey Boys. We got front row seats. It was unbelievable. I loved it.
Tell us how you liked it.
Tell me more about how I feel about your show.
Yes.
I loved it. I loved it.
Enough
And then
about
Charles Addams, of course, is his foundation is out in the Hamptons.
That's right,
and
in Wainscott.
yes, and when my daughter was studying there, they said, guess what? There's going to be a Broadway show about Charles Addams. And I said, how can they do that? And you did it.
Also, Hannah wanted to say hello to you.
Hannah wanted to
Excuse me.
Congratulations.
It's still early. It could change.
It could between
Thank you.
now and then.
She's in for a great night.
The great
You
Hannah
look
Pakula,
gorgeous.
ladies and
Say
gentlemen.
hello.
Another
Hi.
fabulous author. Shanghai Shek. Thank you. What is that? A train sounds like it's leaving.
They may be ready for you. I don't want to
Really?
keep you too
What is
long.
this now? Is this just therapy for you, or does this appear somewhere?
Well, therapy for me. Can I lie down? Will it make me all better?
No, I mean, do they let you do this and then tell me? Because there's no, like
yeah,
NBC
yeah.
or anything.
Right.
Here.
No, this is for a television station out in the Hamptons called LTV.
Oh, God.
Local television.
LTV. I was
Yes.
there at the inception of LTV.
Were you really?
We rented a house from the man who started LTV. Help me.
Oh yes, Fraser Dougherty.
Fraser Dougherty. We
Yes,
rented the Dougherty house on Drew Lane.
Oh, it's a beautiful house.
And
I
she had
understand.
4 names, and one of them was Hersey.
Yeah.
The wife was married to, anyway, so
Yes,
I was there,
yeah.
yeah. So that's great.
Yes,
That's
yes,
great.
yes.
Well, more power to you.
Yes, thank you, thank you. And it's
all right.
doing brilliantly. And tonight is one of the high points, I have to say,
Well, I
having
certainly
you
hope
here.
so, for my sake.
And you live out there part of the time, do you? visit?
Not anymore. We used to have a big house in Montauk, near Dick, actually, Adam Ditch Plains.
Yes.
But now that the girls are gone, and it's a 3.5-hour ride,
Yes.
we've sort of retreated a little bit, but we're going to be back.
Oh, good.
See, I'm here under false pretenses, actually. I might as well be living in Passaic.
No, we're thrilled to have you. And
Well,
if
you're very
you have
sweet.
some connection now because you're on LTV,
I
it
think
makes
it's
it all
great.
legitimate.
I think it's great. You're very sweet. Thank
Great.
you.
Well, thank you. Okay, it's us. Dick and Michelle, don't let it get around.
That wonderful team, best since Laurel and Hardy.
Here we are again. And we're here in New York City at this grand event, and you're being honored yet again. How can you take it?
Well, I like being honored every so often, so it raises my self-esteem. But
I don't think it
I
needs
think
any raising.
or maybe it's my German background relatives that makes me also think negatively. That whom did they fail to get, and finally ended up with me.
Well, I absolutely know that's not the case. I was talking to Ruth Applehoff earlier today, and she was so thrilled to meet you
Really?
at Equus, I believe it was, this past summer.
Yes, I think that's right. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And as you know, Dick, we go way back. I used to work for Mr. Cavett right out of college. I was on your show, working away. It's true, though.
She's been going around claiming this for years. I don't know what to do about it.
Well, I can almost impersonate Carrie Nye.
Yeah. Well, the
She
fact
would
that
call.
you were 14 at the time makes it harder for me to remember.
Anyway,
Yes,
it
you're
was a
right.
great memory. It was a great memory working on that show. And now watching it, I tune in whenever I can, and they have reruns.
Turner Classics bought 9 of the full shows, so they run Betty Davis on their Betty Davis night and so on. But
Yoko
there are
and John.
also DVDs of the Cavett shows, effectively kept secret by the company that put them out, but on Amazon.
Now, can you get every episode? Because there's one in particular I'm looking for.
Which one is it?
Henny
Let me give you
Youngman.
the subject matters.
Henny Youngman.
Wait a minute, we get to that. Rock Icons has everybody in rock. Great Janis Joplin stuff. Not Hendrix, he's on another one. There's a John and Yoko DVD. There's a, this is a long plug, isn't it? Ray Charles. Then comics, Hope, Benny, all the great comics. And then the Hollywood greats has Hepburn, Betty Davis, Groucho Marx, Fred Astaire, Orson Welles, Marlon Brando, and 7 more. And the whole show is there. Now, I'm taking orders personally from you if you write in.
Well, as I said, I was in the green room once talking to Henny Youngman about to come out with you, and he spent his entire time talking about my father, who was a producer, instead of about himself. And I was so
Henny
touched by
Youngman.
that.
Everybody loved him. I mean, you know, he was often how some people thought he wasn't a great comic, that he just recited one-liners. He was hilarious to me. That funny look both sides he'd give after doing a line and watching people appreciate it. And yeah, I just want to see my Henny Youngman impression.
Oh, yes.
Blind hold-up man says, stick 'em up. Are they up?
I love that. My husband's laughing in the
Yeah,
background.
I'll bet he laughs a lot.
Oh, from your lips.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't mean anything by that.
Okay. Well, you've got him laughing. I'm having him over all the time.
I was on Ed Sullivan, or Ed Sullivan,
Yes.
with Henny Youngman, and I thought, what a treat. Here I watched him all my life from Nebraska, and now he and I are on the Ed Sullivan Show together. I felt
What
like
is it?
I felt I'd grown up.
What is it with you Nebraskans who are magicians who go on to change the world? I mean, what is that combination?
I'm not sure. Johnny was a superb sleight of hand
Yes.
practitioner.
Yes.
One day, I had dinner at his house in California. The house was more of an Olympic venue, really, than a house. It had acres of everything. But this night for dinner, he had prepared a lit cigarette trick, so that when I came in, he produced 5 or 6 lit cigarettes from the air. And then we smelled something.
Amazing.
And looking down, a white section of the brand new Aubusson carpet was smoking, and a black spot widening.
Oh, no.
Yeah, dinner was tense that night.
Yes.
Mrs. Carson had just bought that rug.
Yes. And what was her first name? Easy to remember, right?
It would always start with a J.
Yes,
Except for
yes.
his very last fourth wife. But yeah,
Okay.
there were Jodies, whose real name I think was Joanne, and there was Joanne, and there was Joan or Joanne, and there was Joanne.
I'm very excited to read your new book.
Oh,
And-
haven't I done enough plugs?
And I read that you have 2 other books that you did a while back that you co-wrote. This book you wrote just on your own.
Yeah. The other
Your
2
writing
books-
ability changed.
There was no ghostwriting in the other books. Cavett was in dialogue form. So Chris
Okay, I
Porterfield
couldn't
wrote his
understand
lines
that.
and I wrote my
Okay.
lines.
I couldn't understand.
And then the second one was short, a lot of mixed pieces. But yeah, the new one, it's called, hard to remember, Talk Show, which is the title of my blog that I do for the New York Times
The
online.
Opinionator.
For the
right?
benefit of all the people who say we go all through the paper and can't find your column, it's online. Cavett NY Times will take you there. But the book is about 75 or more of the first columns over the last few years.
Wow.
And they're on every subject from Richard Nixon, 3 pieces about Nixon, the great unindicted co-conspirator, you may recall. It's funny when people quote a column, it means something more to you than when they quote something you've said on the air. A lot of people remember that I said about Sarah Palin that she seems to have no first language.
Yes.
You can agree or
You
not.
said it on the air again. Now, can I embarrass you and say
Probably.
how handsome you are? You've always been
no,
so
no,
handsome.
try
Embarrassed?
and see what happens. Go ahead.
He's so handsome. You've always been so handsome.
I never thought of that. For a guy who was called short stuff in grade school, you never ever think that you might be attractive to 1 or 2 women in your life.
Oh, the whole staff was crazy about him.
Wow.
Yep.
Boy.
Yep.
Hands.
Yes.
Okay.
That's it.
Well,
Very.
Since you have no reputation as a liar, so I'm going to take your word for it.
Absolutely. And charming and such a nice boss. And did you ever have a guest that you just couldn't wait for the interview to be over? You just could not draw them out. It was just torture.
Yes. Several. One of them was the male star of the movie Zabriskie Point. And his last name was something like Frechette or something. He was a total lox and answered in monosyllables. It started to get desperate, and I said at one point, when he said the movie wasn't very good, that at least was refreshing, but for Plagola. But at one point I said, I heard you got in a fist fight at a studio, in Merv Griffin's studio or something. And he said, what about it? And I said, tell us about it. And he said, what do you want? And I said, the facts.
Good for you.
Later, he was trying
Yeah.
to think of some noun in some sentence, and he said, I looked over there, and there was and Mel Brooks, a bread box, something. Mel helped.
He does, doesn't he? So tell me, are you often out in Montauk or more in Manhattan?
I try to go as often as possible out of town. I love New York, and I love being at the end of the island both.
So you're back
So I'm
and
in
forth.
love in 2 places.
And are you doing a big book tour right now?
Well, the sad fact is anybody watching? Should I go ahead and say this? The book companies can't afford the old-fashioned book tours anymore. Ask any author.
Wow.
Yeah, but I've done a lot. I've been on every NPR radio show. I've been on Jimmy Fallon. I've been on Craig Ferguson. I'm going to be on The View. You do as much as you can, but the glamorous days of the book tour, where you were put up in all the best hotels and
That
had
takes a lot of the fun out of it.
all the caviar and matzahs that you want,
Yeah.
don't exist anymore.
And are you doing something with Guildhall coming up?
Oh, you mean an appearance of some sort?
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently they're trying to set something in the summertime. Yeah.
Yes. Rumor has it.
I played Guildhall with a play,
Yes.
Otherwise Engaged, that I did on Broadway, and it played some places around, and Guildhall was one of the best.
Yeah, isn't it? Well, we're so thrilled to have you here with Guildhall
Well, thank you.
tonight, and it's going to be a great one.
I think you're probably always right about those things.
I am. He can tell already.
And you
See?
never lied when you worked for me, that I'm
No.
aware of.
No, not at all. In
Unless
fact,
you told people how much you made.
well,
we
you're the
won't
best.
go into that.
Mwah.
Oh, thank you. Thank
No
God your
lipstick.
husband's turned away at the
Oh,
moment.
right. Sharp as ever.
You're very good at this. Do you believe me?
He never lies either.
Didn't then. See you.